So dear children, welcome to this English teaching program. In the last English class, we discussed the poem 9 Gold Medals by David Roth, and we have finished 4 stanzas. Let's have a recap. Let us have a recapitulation of the previous class discussion, and we can remember the ideas that we have discussed, and then we will discuss the new stanzas and the new SCPs. So let's have a recap of the previous class, right? The most important ideas, that is beginning of the event, the preparation of the event, the ready for the event, and the second SCP stanza 3 and 4. These are about beginning of the event. Then definitely you will also be very much eager, very much interested to know what happened then. They started, the smallest one fell down. What happened then? Let's go, let's see what would happen then. So let's go to the next SCP, stanza 4, stanza 5 and stanza 6. Right. So I am going to read out the poem stanza 5 and 6, then we will discuss. 9 gold medals, stanza 5 and 6. He gave out a cry in frustration and anguish, his dreams and his efforts all dashed in the dirt. But as sure I am standing here telling this story, the same goes for what next occurred. The 8 other runners pulled off on their heels, the ones who had trained for so long to complete. One by one, they all turned around and went back to help him and brought the young boy to his feet. So, dear children, you listen to me. Let's go for the new words. Frustration. You can find this word in the 5th stanza, first line. Frustration, this is a very common word, right? Disappointment, dissatisfaction, and anguish. Anguish means extreme mental pain. Efforts, attempt, try, right? Total work done. Dash in the dirt, destroyed the hope, right? Dashed in the dirt, it was completely his hope, his dream was completely destroyed. Occurred, there is a word in the last line, the last word of 5th stanza, happened. The same goes for what next occurred. Pulled up, 6th stanza. The 8 other runners pulled off on their heels. Pulled up means stopped. They did not run. They are charging ahead, but they stopped their heels. They stopped their running, right? And turn around, that means they changed their position. They went back. They looked back. They changed, brought to, you see, last line, and brought the young boy to his feet. Brought to means made him conscious. That means tried to help him. So let's discuss. So he, you see, everywhere you can find he here. He is like this. He means here. The smallest one, the smallest participant, the smallest athlete who fell down, right? Stumbled and fell down. His dreams, his means here, you can also get this type of question. His dreams means whose dreams? The dreams of the smallest one, the athlete who fell down, right? So the smallest one gave a cry, right? Loudly he started, or he made a loud sound in frustration. Oh, what happened? In hopelessness and mental shock, mental pain. Because his dreams, his hard work, that actually dashed in the dirt. Finished, destroyed. But as sure as I am standing here telling this story, the same goes for what next occurred. In the 3rd line of 5th stanza, my dear children, you can find the pronoun I. in the last session, I have already told you, when you are reading a poem or any story or any prose lesson, you should try to understand the pronouns. So, who is I here? But as sure, right? As sure as I am standing here telling the story, I means the poet himself. David Roth, he himself narrates that. I am standing here. That means he was one of the spectators. He was watching the event. He was also very much eager to see. And he is going to tell the story what happened because he has watched this. So, sixth stanza, the 8 other runners. Now, the poet is telling the story what happened. The 8 other runners pulled up on their heels. They stopped their running. So, the smallest one was on the ground, fell down at the time of running. The 8 others, they stopped their running. The second sentence, the ones who had trained, who means the athletes who had trained for so long to complete. So, the 8 runners who were trained, who were working hard, one by one, they all turned around. They changed their position. They looked back. They stopped their running and went back to help him. This is the true sportsman spirit. This is humanity, my dear children. This is what we say. We human beings, we should love, we should have affection, we should be very much kind to our friends, others. And brought the young boy to his feet. Brought to, made him conscious. He was unconscious. He was in deep pain. He was in frustration, hopelessness. So they came to help the boy, and they wanted to actually make him conscious. You see the images, 2 images. One image, the smallest athlete is on the ground. He has fallen down. And the second image, and they are holding their hands. They have tried, they have helped him, and they have lifted him. They have made him conscious, right? Now you see the important ideas of this part, SCB3. This is about during the event. The event was going on, what happened? So, first part, before the event. Second part, beginning of the event. And the third part, stanza 5 and 6, during the event. So, he fell down and cried in frustration and terrible mental pain. Thought his dreams shattered, destroyed, ruined. His hope was ruined. He could not do anything. But the other runners, they actually looked back. They could know the problem of their friend. They came back, helped him stand. They made him stand. They held their hands. They held his hands and they helped him stand. Right? Let's go to the questions. So, who does he stand for in the 5th stanza? I have already told you he is here the athlete, the smallest one, right? The smallest athlete who fell down while running, right? Next question. Why did the boy cry out? Why did he make a big sound, right? The answer is in frustration and anguish. Frustration, hopelessness, anguish, mental pain. So out of hopelessness, out of unhappiness, out of dissatisfaction and mental pain, the boy, the participant, the youngest athlete, he actually cried out, made a big sound out of pain. The next question, what dashed in the dirt? What makes the poet say so? What dashed in the dirt? I have already told you, कौन धूली साथ है गला? His dreams and efforts to win a medal. He has taken part in the event to win a part. Every participant, every athlete comes to take part in the event, having a dream, having a hope to win a medal, maybe a gold medal, maybe a silver medal, or a bronze medal. But his dreams and efforts to win this medal actually dashed in the dirt. What makes? Because the poet says so, because he fell down. That's why fell down means he could not stand, and he knew that, he hoped that, he thought that he could not run then after this incident, right? Let's go to the next question. What did the other runners do? So the other runners pulled on their heels, stopped their running. How nice! What a sportsman spirit! What type of humanity they showed to the society. All the audience, they were actually very much interested. They are so happy to see this. When they saw all the participants, actually what happens, I have already told you at the time of introducing the poem. The world is full of competitions. Each and every individual is worried about his winning, about his achievement. They forget everything, their love, their affection, their cooperation, their collaboration, everything. But what happens? These disabled persons, these differently abled persons, they realized the problem of their friend. They stopped their running and they wanted to help. How do you feel about their stopping here? Should athletes do like this? What is your feeling? The poet felt that it was really very interesting, amusing, right? So your feeling? If you ask me the question, definitely I'll be very much delighted. I'll be very glad to show their sportsman spirit. Should athletes do like this? Yes, they should do. Each and every athlete, not only athlete, all the competitors, they should not be so much worried about their achievement, about their winning. Rather, they should help others. They should be very kind to others. Who does him stand for in the sixth stanza, right? So in the sixth stanza, who does him stand for? If to help him, they came back to help him. Him means the smallest athlete. All the athletes, other eight athletes, other 8 participants, they came back to help his friend, help him, here the smallest ones. So students, let's go to the next question, question number 7. So what did they long for? They longed for, or they wished for completing the race, to complete the race. And why did they go back to him, to help him? We have already discussed. They went back to help him, right? Next question. How did they help him? They brought the young boy to his feet, means they made him conscious. They encouraged him, they held their hands, they lifted him, and they brought the young boy, the smallest one, to his feet, means made him conscious. So we finished these questions. Let's go to stanza number 7 and 8, right? So dear children, you listen to me and then we'll discuss. Then all the 9 runners joined hands and continued. The 108 days now reduced to a walk, and a banner above that said Special Olympics could not have been more on the mark. That's how the race ended, with 9 gold medals. They came to the finish line holding hands still, and a standing ovation and 9 beaming faces said more than these words ever will. David Roth. So then all the 9 runners joined hands and continued. The 100-yard dash now reduced to a walk. So reduced, the new word. Reduced means actually made the walk smaller to a walk. So what happened? The ovation, you see, the last stanza, 3rd line, ovation, clapping and cheers, right? Ovation means to clap, to encourage them. Beaming, smiling, beaming faces, smiling faces, right? So let's discuss. So then all the 9 runners, they joined hands and continued. So they went back, they helped the young man stand, they made him conscious, and then they continued their race. They joined their hands together, you see. They held their hands, all of them held the hands of each other. They joined, all of them, they held their hands together. And in a line, holding their hands to each other, they started their running, right? And the 100-yard dash, the quick run, the race, now reduced, now became a walk. They did not run, they walked, right? And a banner above that said Special Olympics. And what happens? They carried a banner. They held a banner in which Special Olympics. So the Olympics is special and the event is also a special. That is also a special event. That's why the poet David Roth very actually logically, interestingly says, the event was a special event, the Olympic was special Olympic. Special Olympic for the differently abled people, and this is special because the race became a walk. They walked and could not have been more on the mark. You cannot imagine this type of thing in any event. That's how the race ended with 9 gold medals. They came to the finish line holding hands still, and a standing ovation and 9 beaming faces said more than these words ever. So that's how the race ended. The race ended with 9 gold medals. They touched the end line, came to the finish line, holding hands. They walked, they helped the young man. They walked and they touched the end line, finish line, holding their hands together, each other, and they were awarded 9 gold medals. You can look at the images, right? And the standing ovation, the audience stood. They started giving claps. They clapped their hands. They gave a big hand together, all the audience. And all the 9 participants, they became very much happy. Their faces, they became beaming faces, smiling faces. They smiled, they laughed. Even the smallest one who fell down, who again joined them, he also started. So you see, said more than these words ever will. This is completely a unique event. You cannot find in any event where all the athletes, all the participants, all the competitors, they are awarded, they are given gold medals. So this is contradiction. Usually in this competitive world, only 1 gold medal is given to the first winner. But in this specific special event, the writer says, the poet says, all the participants, they were awarded gold medals because of their humanity, because of their cooperation to each other, because of their collaboration to each other, because of their kindness to their friends, because of their honesty and all these things. How nice. So this is the teaching actually. Let's see you just see how they are holding their hands to each other and they are walking, they are not running, right? And this is their smiling faces. All the athletes, they joined together. The most important ideas of this part, the last end of the event and awards. So 4 parts: preparation before beginning, then second part beginning, third part during the event, and this is the last part, end of the event and awards. 9 runners joined hands, walked instead of running. They held a banner, and the banner says Special Olympic, and the race ended. 9 gold medals were awarded. They became very much happy. Even the youngest one, he fell down, who actually lost his hope, who actually thought that he had lost his dream, he was also awarded the gold medal. This is what is the message for this society. Let's go to the questions to understand the poem better. What did the 9 runners do then? They joined their hands and continued their running. And what happened to the 100-yard dash? So the 100-yard dash reduced to a walk, that became a walk. Next question. What did they carry with them? They carried a banner with them, right? What did the banner say? The banner said Special Olympics. That means Special Olympics. That was the written expression on the banner. What made the Olympics special? The cooperation and the fellow feeling of the differently abled athletes. You cannot find in this present world. Everybody is worried to win for himself or herself, to win the gold medal or the silver medal. Next, what did the race end with? So how did the race end? That means with 9 gold medals. The organizers, they declared 9 gold medals. 9 gold medals were given to them. Next question, how did they come to the finish line? Holding the hands of each other. They walked, they held their hands each other, and they came. The next question, what do you mean by a standing ovation? Right? The people stood up, clapped and cheered the athletes. Right? They were also very much happy. They are very much interested to watch the situation, to watch the athletes, to watch their cooperation. Right? How were their faces then? Were they all happy? Why? Their faces were beaming faces. They are all happy. They all reached the line at a time. So no one was considered to be the winner for the gold medal, because all of them, they reached the line at a time. They worked. They did not have any competitive spirit. Rather, they have fellow feelingness. Right? What do you learn from such type of help of athletes? What do you learn? Very good question, you see. The poet in his poem, 9 gold medals, teaches a very good lesson. He asks us we should be very honest, we should be kind, we should be cooperative, we should be collaborative, we should actually think about our duties, responsibilities. We should not run after the competitions. We should not be worried about our own achievements. Rather, we should be very much happy with the achievements of others, with the success of others. So, what do you learn? Winning not important. Helping friends is very important. What message does the poet convey in this poem? 9 gold medals. What is the message of this poem? Humanity is high above the personal achievement, responsibility, duties, all these good qualities. So what we should do for our people, that is more important. The more important is not, the most important thing is not only winning medals. This is the message which the poet David Roth wants to convey, wants to give to the society, wants to give to the whole world, which is actually full of competitions, right? So, and dear students, I think you have understood the poem. The poem is very nice, and all of you should try to go for humanity. You should be good human beings first. You may be a student, you may be a sportsman, maybe a politician, whatever you may be. So you should try to follow these features of these actually participants. So let's try to have some good qualities, and we should be very much responsible, we should be dutiful, we should be kind, we should be cooperative, and we should have the actually nature of collaboration. This is one type of collaboration, right? Dear students, I think you have understood the poem. The poem is very useful to everybody. So you have some questions, you have some activities, and you do those activities, read at home, and try to understand the text better. So the time is over now, and goodbye. Thank you.